About 5 miles west of Hanover and 10 miles east of Gettysburg is a large farm. It's a working farm owned by the Hostetter family, and in the middle of that farm is a racetrack. Welcome to Trailway Speedway.
This farm's been in our family for 6 generations. It's track sits in the middle of 250 acres, which we farm to this day.
This is my grandfather, which is my dad's dad. It was his original farm. And Dad is the youngest of a family of 7, and he's the only one living, and he's the youngest brother, of course, of the whole family. And my uncles and him used to go out on the farm here. The speedway's right in the middle of the farm. They used to go out and get the horses and cattle with their motorcycles. So they all sort of grew up around motorcycles, and that led into racing each other, so that led into them wanting to race.
Their dad, Armin Hostetter, enjoyed sports.
Yeah, he was an old motorcycle racer. He actually raced on the beach at Daytona when they still raced on the beach, and most of the flat tracks around this area. And he was a pretty good racer in his time. He tried out for several sports. He tried out for the Pittsburgh Pirates as a catcher, and the Baltimore Colts wanted him to play fullback. And he always wanted to farm and have a family, so he went that direction, which I'm glad.
Though farming is a great deal of work, Armin Hostetter found time to play.
We had a club here called Trailway Sports Club where you could bring your bike out and ride over. We had some trails around the farm, what have you. And then obviously we built an oval for kids to ride on. And if you belong to the local YMCA, they bought 4 little mini bikes, and you could come out and ride the mini bikes on the farm. Well, we got to racing each other, and next thing you know, we're having races. So that's how racing got started here. We actually had sulky races for horses here, for ponies. So we got into go-kart racing and into cycle racing, because that's where Dad's background came from, and it developed into what it is today. That started in the early 70s, probably racing as far as announcing we're racing and bringing other people in here to race was in 1972. We had the governor here, had a grand opening, things of that nature, but that's how it got started, and here we are today.
Kevin Gobrecht raced here. We used to have a motocross track here. A lot of the local hot shoes in motocross grew up here. We have some national number flat trackers that came out of here that race here. Jared Meese and let's see, Kenny Colbreth, Kevin Barnes. All of them won national races over the country, and they grew up cutting their teeth here on our track. It
started out a very small oval. We ran go-karts and ponies around it for sulky racing. And then, of course, everybody wanted to go faster, so we built a bigger track. And then motocross was real popular, so we built it was about a 2-mile motocross track. It was very big for its day, and very popular. And we held motocross racing and motorcycles on the oval. And then a year or 2 later, someone decided to bring their stock car back. They wanted to turn some laps, shake a car down, and said, well, boy, this is neat, a smaller track. And then some of the local tracks are much bigger. So that evolved into stock car racing, and once again, here we are today.
It's a shorter track than a half-mile. It's about a third, but they put on a good show. If you can learn to drive here, you can drive any track.
Oh, it's a little tight, but I've raced over here for 20-some years, so you kind of get used to it. Like I say, it's the tighter racetrack that we race at, but you know, for the most part, the guys have respect for each other, and not a lot of stuff gets torn up here.
It's a real small racetrack, bull ring. The racing here is really competitive. That's one reason why we mostly always come here. The bigger tracks, you know, you need a high dollar equipment, big motors, and we can run here and still be competitive without the high dollar equipment. The track's usually really good track conditions here. Compared to some of the other speedways, there's a lot more cars, and the competitors, it's still pretty competitive here.
Trailway Speedway generally sees about 1,000 people, including drivers and spectators, on an average Friday night.
It's a Friday night racetrack. It's a little hard for people to get off work and make it over here. So, you know, their fan count's kind of on the low side, but you know, hopefully there's enough support from the different race cars that show up that it makes it worthwhile for the racetrack to have us here on the Friday nights for a Friday night race show.
Right now, we currently run Trailways on Friday. It's our home track. We're the points leader here, so we come here every Friday. Saturday nights, we usually find us at Lincoln Speedway. and any other oddball tracks, sometimes Susquehanna Speedway, Path Valley Speedway. Occasionally we go to Williams Grove Speedway, but they race against Trailways on Friday, so most of the time you'll find us here at Trailways.
As far as coming out and sitting on the stands and watching a good race, we try to put on a good show for people.
Congratulations to Armin Hostetter, who was recently inducted into the York County Racing Hall of Fame. If you're interested in visiting Trailway Speedway, they have racing both Friday and Saturday nights. There were other races besides the Triple 25s that made for a long but great night at Mahoning Valley. Stay tuned for more highlights here on Pit Pass.
When you think golf carts, think Jake's Custom Golf Carts. With over 300 stock and lifted carts at their shop, you'll find the cart you need or have Jake's build one to your specs. Custom airbrushing, lift kits, sport shifters, rear seats. You name it, with the expertise and craftsmanship people have come to expect from Jake's. Come see for yourself why Jake's is the nation's premier golf cart provider. Jake's Golf Carts, Route 522 McVeigh Town. Online at jakesgolfcarts.com.